Welcome back to True Crime Documentary YouTube channel. Hannah Lawson's life appeared perfect on the surface. Raised in the small, picturesque town of Asheville, North Carolina, she had a loving family, a close-knit group of friends, and a bright future ahead of her. After meeting Lucas Morgan, a charismatic and successful businessman, she believed she had found her soulmate. Lucas swept her off her feet with grand romantic gestures, expensive gifts, and a future that seemed like a fairy tale. Lucas, who had built his reputation as a financial wizard with a growing empire, appeared to be the ideal partner. His charm and confidence captivated not only Hannah, but everyone in her social circle. The couple's whirlwind romance soon led to a glamorous engagement. Their wedding was the talk of the town, an event that everyone wanted to attend, and their honeymoon to the Hawaiian Islands was supposed to be the beginning of a long, happy life together. But beneath the glittering surface of their relationship lay a dark, hidden reality. Just days into their honeymoon, Lucas reported Hannah missing. She had vanished during a hike, according to his tearful account to the local authorities. He claimed that one moment they were walking together, enjoying the lush Hawaiian jungle, and the next, she was gone. Search teams were immediately dispatched, but no trace of Hannah was found. The story gripped the nation. The image of a beautiful, newlywed woman disappearing on her honeymoon was enough to capture the attention of the public and the media. Television networks and social media platforms ran headlines and stories speculating about what could have happened to her. In the initial days of the investigation, the focus was on finding Hannah alive and safe, with Lucas playing the role of the heartbroken, desperate husband pleading for her return. However, as the days turned into weeks and Hannah remained missing, suspicions began to emerge. Detective Mitchell, a seasoned investigator with years of experience handling complex cases, was assigned to lead the search for Hannah. At first, Mitchell believed Lucas's account and was committed to finding the missing woman. But as he delved deeper into Lucas's past, a different story began to unfold, one filled with lies, deceit, and hidden motives. The first red flag came when Mitchell and his team started looking into Lucas's background. While Lucas had presented himself as a self-made entrepreneur with a thriving financial empire, his finances were anything but stable. Bank records showed mounting debts, failed business ventures, and questionable transactions. Lucas had been living beyond his means for years, borrowing money to fund a lifestyle he could no longer afford. It quickly became clear that his financial success was more of an illusion than a reality. Mitchell knew that the next logical step was to examine Lucas's personal life. If his professional life was built on lies, perhaps his personal relationships were too. As they dug deeper, a series of extramarital affairs came to light. Lucas had been involved with several women before, and even during his engagement to Hannah. What appeared to be a picture-perfect love story was, in fact, a tangled web of betrayal. Each of these women had a story to tell about Lucas, and none of them painted him in a favorable light. Amanda Taylor, a marketing executive from New York, was one of the first to come forward. She described her relationship with Lucas as intense but unstable. They had met at a conference, and the chemistry between them was immediate. What Amanda didn't know, however, was that Lucas was already engaged to Hannah at the time. Their affair continued well into Lucas's engagement, and it wasn't until Amanda saw his wedding announcement on social media that she realized she had been deceived. Feeling betrayed and used, Amanda ended the relationship but saved all their communications. She willingly shared these with Detective Mitchell, hoping to shed light on Lucas's duplicitous nature. Amanda described how Lucas would often speak about his grand financial plans and how he was on the verge of a major breakthrough. He always seemed on the cusp of success, yet there was an air of desperation about him. Another woman, Samantha Lee, a real estate agent from Miami, had an equally troubling story. She met Lucas during one of his business trips, and their relationship was marked by lavish gifts and extravagant promises. Lucas had a way of making women feel special, adored, and irreplaceable, but he also had a tendency to disappear for days at a time without explanation. Samantha, like Amanda, had no idea Lucas was engaged to Hannah Dot, but perhaps the most shocking testimony came from Stephanie Grant, one of Lucas's colleagues at his financial firm. Stephanie had been romantically involved with Lucas for nearly 2 years. During this time, Lucas had confided in her about his financial troubles. He spun a tale of being a victim of unfortunate circumstances, bad investments, dishonest business partners, and a string of bad luck. Deeply infatuated with him, Stephanie had loaned Lucas large sums of money, believing he would pay her back once his fortunes improved. However, as time went on, it became clear that Lucas had no intention of repaying her. The common thread in all of these stories was Lucas's ability to manipulate those around him. He used his charm and good looks to win the trust and affection of women, and he used their emotional and financial support to maintain his crumbling empire. These revelations added a new dimension to the investigation. What started as a missing person case was now potentially something much darker. Was Hannah aware of Lucas's double life? Did she discover his lies? And if so, could that have been a motive for foul play? The pressure on Lucas began to mount. As the media started to report on his affairs and financial troubles, his image as the grieving husband began to crack. Lucas continued to deny any wrongdoing, but his growing agitation and inconsistent statements only fueled suspicion. Then, in a twist that no one saw coming, a private investigator named Ethan Brooks entered the picture. Ethan contacted Detective Mitchell, claiming to have information that could change the course of the investigation. He explained that months before Hannah's disappearance, he had been hired by an anonymous client to investigate Lucas Morgan. Ethan's investigation had focused on Lucas's business dealings and personal life, and what he uncovered was damning. He had tracked Lucas's movements, recorded his communications, and gathered evidence of both financial misconduct and infidelity. But the most startling piece of information was about Hannah herself. According to Ethan, Hannah had discovered Lucas's lies shortly before their wedding. She had confided in a close friend, expressing her fears about going through with the marriage. This friend, worried for Hannah's safety, had anonymously hired Ethan to gather evidence against Lucas. The investigator had collected photographs, financial records, and even a recording of a conversation between Lucas and an unknown associate. The recording was particularly troubling. It suggested that Lucas had been planning something sinister, though the details were vague. Ethan provided all of this evidence to Detective Mitchell, who realized that the investigation had just taken a major turn. Was it possible that Hannah, knowing the truth about Lucas, had staged her own disappearance? Could she have fled to escape the life she no longer wanted, the life built on lies? Armed with this new information, Mitchell and his team re-interviewed everyone close to Hannah. They spoke again with her family, friends, and even her co-workers. Hannah's best friend, Taryn Bennett, revealed that in the weeks leading up to the wedding, Hannah had become increasingly anxious. She had confided in Taryn about her doubts, particularly after receiving an anonymous tip about Lucas's deceit. Taryn admitted that she had noticed a change in Hannah's demeanor, but she never imagined it would lead to something as extreme as a disappearance. Lucas, on the other hand, grew increasingly frustrated as the investigation reopened. He dismissed the evidence from Ethan Brooks's fabrication and denied any involvement in Hannah's disappearance. Yet his erratic behavior and frequent contradictions only deepened the investigators' suspicions. Detective Mitchell was now faced with a difficult task. He had to consider every possibility. If Hannah had indeed staged her own disappearance, where could she have gone? The team expanded their search, looking into airports, border crossings, and even potential safe houses. The media, once focused solely on Lucas's guilt, now began to speculate about Hannah's role in the unfolding drama. Public opinion was divided. Some believed that Lucas was guilty of foul play and had harmed Hannah to cover up his lies. Others wondered if Hannah had orchestrated her own escape, driven to desperation by the discovery of Lucas's true nature. The case had become a national obsession, with the public closely following every new development. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. A hiker in a remote part of Hana, Maui, stumbled upon a makeshift campsite hidden deep in the jungle. Among the belongings left behind were several items that matched descriptions of Hannah's possessions, including a distinctive bracelet she always wore. The discovery reignited the search, and rescue teams quickly descended on the area, scouring the dense jungle for any sign of her days. Later, they found Hannah alive but in a dire condition. She was severely dehydrated, disoriented, and barely able to speak. After being rushed to a hospital and stabilized, she finally shared her story. It was a tale of fear, betrayal, and desperation. Hannah had indeed staged her own disappearance. After uncovering Lucas's infidelities and financial troubles, she felt trapped. She couldn't face a future married to a man who had lied to her, used her, and deceived everyone around them. The anonymous tip from Ethan Brooks had been the final straw. Feeling overwhelmed and alone, she saw no other way out but to disappear. She fled into the jungle, intending to vanish entirely, but the harsh conditions soon took a toll on her health, leaving her stranded and unable to carry out her plan. Her return to civilization sparked a wave of relief, but also controversy. While many were glad she was alive, others questioned her drastic actions and the trauma she had endured. Public opinion remained divided. Was Hannah a victim, or had she been complicit in her own disappearance? The media continued to speculate, but one thing was certain. Lucas Morgan's life was about to fall apart. With Hannah's testimony and the evidence gathered by Ethan Brooks, Lucas was arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy to cause harm. His financial empire, once the envy of his peers, was revealed to be nothing more than a facade built on lies and illegal activities. During his trial, the full extent of his deception was laid bare, and he was ultimately sentenced to 10 years in prison. For Hannah, the ordeal marked the beginning of a long road to recovery. She returned to Asheville, where she focused on rebuilding her life and healing from the emotional scars left by Lucas's betrayal. Over time, she became an advocate for women trapped in toxic relationships, sharing her story in hopes of helping others find a way out before it was too late. As for Detective Mitchell, the case of Hannah Lawson's disappearance was one of the most challenging of his career. It had tested his instincts, his patience, and his resolve. But in the end, justice had been served, and the truth, complicated as it was, had finally come to light. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Be sure to check out our other videos for more captivating stories. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.